Welcome to Mortgage on My Mind, where we take the mystery out of mortgages and make dreams of home ownership a reality. I'm Natalie Salins, a top 1% mortgage broker with 20 years of experience, based right here in sunny Los Angeles. If you've ever wondered about pre-approvals, appraisals, or what loan product is right for you, don't worry, I've got Mortgage on My Mind, so you don't have to. Each week, I'll bring you expert advice, real-life stories, and insider tips to help you navigate California's competitive real estate market with confidence. Whether you're buying your first home, refinancing, or just curious about how it all works, this podcast is for you. So let's talk mortgages, demystify the process, and make your real estate goals a reality. Ready to get started? Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mortgage on My Mind. I am Natalie Salins, your host. And with us today, Stefan. Okay, so
Yeah, good luck with that.
Something I didn't ask you before. Pommepuy?
Yeah, Pommepuy. And you're not the
Pommepuy.
first. Yeah, very few people get it. No worries. It's French, Pommepuy. So pomme like
Pommepuy. It's
apple.
beautiful. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm upset that I didn't get that. I should have.
I like it better this way because it's what happens all the time.
Exactly. Cool name.
Yeah.
He is a director of the Estates Division at the agency in Beverly Hills, representing buyers and sellers across Los Angeles, in specifically Beverly Hills and Bel Air and Hollywood Hills. He has nearly 2 decades in the industry and is recognized as a Chairman Award winner multiple times and named to RealTrends and Tom Ferry America's Best, placing him among the top performing agents nationwide. So thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you. Yeah. Appreciate the kind
I'm
intro.
sure you have busy days, so I appreciate you taking the time.
Of course. It's always a pleasure.
Amazing. So tell me, how did you not necessarily get to where you are, but how would you say you shifted from what I imagine was probably standard deals into more of a luxury market? And what made you feel like this type of luxury market, high-end real estate deals is your niche?
Yeah, interesting. The funny thing is I went for it from the get-go, which I don't know if I would recommend for most people. In hindsight, I think the better path and the more consistent path that I see agents, it might take them a little bit longer getting there, but when they do get there, they're a bit more consistent in it, working with a team, being mentored by a bigger agent, leveraging some of their listings. I went for the big stuff out of the gate, just because at the time, when I moved here, I was dating this actress, and we'd go to some of these events and all that stuff, and so I was within the circles of the luxury market. And I figured it's just as easy to do a small deal as it is a bigger deal, sometimes easier. So why not go for that? Which was great. My second deal was a $5.5 million deal. This is 20 years ago.
Oh my God.
Then, that was a decent sized number. But then it took me a while to get the next one. And in hindsight, sometimes starting a bit slower and doing the normal deals, whatever, $500,000 condo, $1 million house, and then those buyers or those owners trade up. There's more consistency. So I think that's probably the better approach. But for me at the time, just new to LA, gung ho, just going for it. I went for the bigger stuff from the beginning. So it wasn't something that I necessarily moved into. It's something I just jumped into with inconsistency at the beginning. Obviously, that came a bit later, but at the time it was it's just more fun, right? So on Caravan, I'd go and preview a lot of the bigger houses, even though I didn't have clients for it, right? So then that's why when the opportunity came where I met a buyer that was looking at that price range, I already knew all the houses, right? So it's like dressing for the job you want kind of thing. So it worked out, but it's not something I would necessarily recommend for most people. I think the slower, consistent approach is probably the better route. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be. It's interesting. Setting your sights on what you want is always what you end up manifesting. So that's awesome.
True.
I always say, as far as on the loan side, you work your hardest on the smallest loans.
That's true. First-time buyers, a lot of hand-holding. Yeah.
Lots of hand-holding. And for us especially, we get paid much, much less. But the larger deals do have more complexities, right? And the buyers, of course, have more complexities in their own ways. Would you find that? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. And there's usually, it's easy in the sense that you don't have to necessarily show them the ropes as much, but it can be trickier because oftentimes there's more people involved, right? You have a business manager, you have a lawyer, you have someone in their ear, the agent they used before or whatever. So yeah, it could be a little bit messier, or a little bit more, excuse me. Just a few more moving parts. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, when it closes, you're also making a bit more. So sometimes I prefer those problems, right? There's issues or challenges on both sides, but I prefer the challenges this way. However, there is a little bit more, I don't want to call it backstabbing or whatever, but there is a different level of, different challenges. So it can be a little trickier because everyone's got their hand in the pot and everyone's trying to take something or make something happen or get a piece of it. So different, I don't know. It's the same with loans where I'm sure they're shopping it around. But
Unbelievable. Yeah.
yeah, so pros and cons to anything. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And would you say larger houses have more complexity than smaller houses? Like as
You,
far as when you sell something that's just like a million, I know that sounds a lot to some of you listeners out there, but if you were to just sell a standard house at a million or 5 million, does that change?
A little bit. Bigger houses have more to inspect, so there's more chances of something going wrong, right? You probably have a pool or a theater or a restaurant system or whatever, right? So there's more, just like a luxury car. If you have a basic car and you're rolling down windows, although no cars have rolling windows anymore, back in the day, you would have automatic windows or a sunroof. There's always something that there's a
Right.
chance of something going wrong. But I think it's more, for us, it's a bit more the new development or developers, new construction, and you may not have the CFO, or there may be a punch list that needs to get taken care of because no matter how new the house is, there's always something. So yeah, I would say size, square footage wise and number wise, size does have an effect on it for the most part, just based on more to cover. But I would say the ratio is similar, just for the points we talked about earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. In my head, I start thinking about, oh, I bet it matters so much more on these larger homes, what the cosmetic features
The
are of the
finishes.
home, the
Yeah.
finishes, and like is there Mealy ovens and like what all of
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
must come into play so much more.
Kind of like I would imagine with loans as well, right? Because they may be pulling equity out of another property they have, refining this, pulling money from here, liquidating assets versus a first-time home buyer that probably just has the down payment and that's it.
Barely.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Each one are different with their own issues and problems
yeah.
that you manage for them. I don't really do high-end loans, right? Because people with a ton of money buying upwards of 5 million and above homes, they have their private money people that they
Hmm.
normally, and they don't finance really the
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, they
I
might buy cash and pull out money later or something. Yeah.
Exactly. To purchase a $5 million house, you've got to have a lot of money in the bank, right?
Yeah.
So normally they're not
So what would
necessarily
be your average price point, or what's like a normal, like what's on the upper scale of a loan you would do?
upper scale, 2 million.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a bunch of those. I am financing something right now for a 3 million house, putting 1 million down, 2 million low.
Nice.
But that isn't standard. That's like a larger loan. Standard is anywhere in the $1 million range, I would say, for
Yeah.
loan amount. So everything on the east side, and I'm like an east side girl, it's around 1.5 million to 2 million, probably.
Yeah. That's good. That's bread and butter. Those are consistent. They close probably a little quicker and easier for the
I
most
can
part.
close them in
Less
15
complicated.
days. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And we have a very specific process through it all. I've got 10% down programs to 2 million or even 3
Oh,
million.
wow.
Yeah. With no
Nice.
mortgage insurance, and I don't have to broker it out and everything like that. So that's why that's a range that we do our best in, because we have that available. A lot of people in LA, it's very hard to save money here.
Yeah. And there's somebody on my team has made an offer on something, and there's a program with 3% down for some of the, what do you call them, areas that are,
Special zip code areas.
yeah, special zoning where it's 3% down and you get like a $5,000 kickback or incentive. There's a bunch of different things where,
Yeah. Yeah,
first
they're
time
called
buyers.
AMI tracks, so it's
Okay.
area median income tracks. But it's
Cool.
so hard to find here in LA, that track. It's
Yeah.
it's not even a zip code. It's like a few blocks within the zip
Like
code,
little pockets. Yeah. Just like these
tiny,
sporadic
tiny
pockets.
pockets that are deemed available for a program where you can do 3% down or even 0% down, and you'll get 5 to 10 grand back or whatever.
So you were probably around in the days when I first started. I think we've been in the business similar amounts of time, but when they had negative amortization
Rag hand
mortgages
loans,
and
of
negative
course.
loans and all that stuff, that was insane.
It was the best.
Yeah.
I didn't personally do an EGAM loan. I started in 2005 and I was with Countrywide. So,
Wow. Countrywide. My
so
God.
you might remember the fast and easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I got my license a month before it crashed. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So I wasn't able to capitalize on that, like that little last easy lane. I got it when everything
Hoorah.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. And everything was short sales. I remember like selling a house 4 or 5 times before it would actually close because you'd get an offer, you had to get it approved by the bank. That might take a month or two. By the time you come back to the buyer, they bought something else, put it back in
Yeah.
escrow, and you're just like, it was such a pain in the ass, which,
Yeah. Short
you
sales are
know,
tough.
yeah. In hindsight, it created good habits. And I remember when the market started to turn, I was like, holy shit, you can just like put a house in the market, have an open house and get an offer in 1 week and close it 30 days later. Wait, you can actually make money doing this? It was mind blowing. But the fundamentals always stuck with me that this can change. So I've always been quite conservative with saving a little bit through the downtimes like now versus
Yeah.
getting your license when everything was easy and then it turns hard. Then people they had no context of how hard it can be. And then a lot of those realtors leave the business. So yeah,
Yeah.
pros and cons. Yeah.
It's true. Pros and cons for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And so it occurred to me when you were talking, do you find that it's a problem? And if you can explain for the audience, of course, because they don't really know, we got hit with mansion tax, is what it's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
Has that been an issue for your clients? Again, I don't deal in those kind of very large purchases and stuff, so I haven't.
Yeah, there was that time before it was implemented, after it passed and before it was implemented. It was actually a plus because I remember we sold a house to the Powerball winner, the record-breaking $2 billion
No
Powerball winner.
way.
Yeah, yeah. So we sold him his house. I was on the listing side, so didn't represent him as the buyer. But at the time, the house was listed for 30, and he came in at I think it was 23, back and forth. We settled at I think it's 25.5 and with the condition that we close it before whatever it was, March 1st, I think was when it was coming into place. And so I told clients, I'm like, guys, if we can get this done, except 25.5, it's like getting 28.50 or whatever it was, right? Because you're saving the 5%. So there was that window that where it was actually good because it helped us push some of these aggressive offers through because they were trying to avoid that 5%. After that, yeah, sales dropped a little bit, quite noticeable. It didn't have the effect that it was intended to have. And it's definitely something that a lot of buyers, if you have to sell, you have to sell. But there was a lot of people that, especially developers, now you got to put that in your line item, another
Right.
5%. And then there's when you're on the cusp, there's creative ways of restructuring the deals where it's like, all right, you're paying this for that, this for furniture, this for a lease back. And you would structure it where it would put you below that,
Just
that
below.
line. Yeah. Or a buyer pays all closing costs. If you're like at the 5-1 mark, if you're right on the cusp, closing costs on a $5 million house is probably 300,000-400,000 depending. And so if you have the buyers pay for it, technically speaking, it's not a sales price. So there's ways around it when you're in that little
Yeah.
in-between stage, but it definitely threw a wrench in the
Do you
market
think?
as a whole. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I like at some
Interesting.
point. Mhm.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I remember when it happened and I was like, wow, 5% on anything over $5 million.
That's a lot. Yeah.
This city better not be in debt. Like
Yeah.
soon. Like
Yeah.
that's a lot of money coming in extra.
Yeah.
And then I was like trying to think about it like, okay, so on a $5 million deal, 5% is what,
250.
250,000?
Yeah.
Somebody selling a house for $5 million, does 250,000 really stop him from selling?
Yeah, it
You know
does
what
in
I
a
mean?
sense that,
Like,
yeah, not if they have to sell, but if it's a lateral move, let's say, hey, I want to sell in the hills for 5.5, and I want to buy in Santa Monica or whatever. If it's a lateral move, they may think twice about it. If you're
mm,
cashing out and leaving the state, it's different, but it's still 250 grand. And then they start coming after your commission for it. So it's not that we have
yeah,
anything to do with it, but it's like 5%. It's another, what if you knock off half? They're trying to like find ways to,
I can see
to
that. Yeah.
offset that. And it just becomes, it's just, and look, if we saw results from where all that money went, it'd be one thing. As most government
That's
programs, it
correct.
just somehow
Exactly.
gets lost. Yeah, it's like, where did
That's
that
what I'm
go?
saying. I was kidding when I said
So
we better
it's
not be in debt
yeah,
anymore because it's not like
yeah,
we see
exactly.
anything different.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
and it deters developers because now if they have to make a 30% spread on something, now it's 35. They'll pay less for it, and then they'll have to pay it on the exit. So
Selling
it's
something
just
quick doesn't make as much sense, that's for sure. It
exactly
takes a good year or two to make 5% on a
yeah.
property if you're just sitting on it in that
Yeah,
range.
imagine. So it's like you lose 2 years of equity build for the most part,
Correct,
which is
exactly.
not cool.
Because if you
So yeah,
think of
definitely.
like you can buy something for 3 million and then maybe 7 or 8 years later it's worth five.
Yeah.
And then it's okay if you're selling and it's 250 cost because if you bought it for three, you're still earning quite a bit on it, right?
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
do have to sit and wait that out for it to make any sense.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're making $2 million. What's 250? It's still 250 grand. It's still, you could do a lot. You could put a down payment on $1 million investment property. You can, so
Totally.
it's still a noticeable amount, which no matter what level of wealth you're at, it's still something. Most people are wealthy because they're quite smart and strategic with money. It's still a cost that they notice.
Yeah.
Of course, if you want the house bad enough, it's fine. And also a lot of developers now, like at that price point where you may be buying for 3 or 4, putting $1 million or $2 million into it, selling it for 6 or 7. Now, like at that point, maybe you buy for 1 or 2 and try and exit at 4. You do two $4 million exits or two $5 million exits, then 110, just to stay under that.
People are
So
structuring to stay just under it. Yeah.
exactly. And it sounds weird for depending where your listeners are. $5 million has almost become the entry level. If you're in Brentwood or Beverly Hills, then barely the entry level of
Don't
a
listen to
house you can
that.
get.
Listeners, don't.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a
So
very strange conversation.
yeah, but it's crazy. Like you can't. What can you find in Beverly Hills or Brentwood or Palisades for less than
Well,
that?
that truly, yes, but as a first-time home buyer, you don't normally go to those areas.
Yeah,
You can
true.
stay on the outskirts.
Yeah,
But as I was saying for the AMI, like the average median income, it's like balls in LA. It doesn't even make any sense
yeah,
because the average median income at max is around 120. So if you're earning 120, that's 10,000 a month, right? I can
yeah,
only qualify you for up to 5,000 total debt. It's easy. It's 50% of what you gross
yeah.
earn. So if you can only afford all of the debt that we add up to 5,000, let's say the mortgage debt can only be 4,500.
Yeah.
Now
And
it's like,
taxes and bit. Yeah,
what are
that's not
you
much.
what are you finding at 4,500? It's hard because
Yeah.
that's maybe 700,000,
And chances are that, and that's a condo, right? And if it's a condo, now
800,000. Yeah,
you got to include the condo fees, right? Which
of
is at a
course.
minimum now. Mine went from 450 to the place I'm in now. Now it's 1,060. So that kills your affordability.
1,060 for the
1,060, yeah.
insurance
No, just
because of
for
insurance.
it was an older. They retrofitted a bunch of elevators. It's a really cool Paul Williams, but our complex is like comprised of it's 200 units total, but it's comprised of 11 buildings with 12 units per building. So there's a lot of elevators, pools, and all that stuff. So I think it's just been deferred maintenance from the years prior. So we just got hit with a big thing. But when you're buying, luckily I was already in the building and I can afford a bit of the bump. But if you're qualifying for buyers now, if I'm selling the place, that's an
Of
extra
course.
$500 of buying power that a buyer loses as far as purchase price power. So those are
Right.
things you got to factor in. So it's hard, it's tricky, and I'm shocked at how we sustain so much the population here because I don't know how people can afford living here.
And that's why the low down payment options become so important because the expenses here are very high. People
Yeah,
earn a great living here a lot of the time. Uh, I have nurses that work 2 jobs. They earn a lovely living. They can make it happen. It's more of the down payment. I
yeah,
had to structure for one of my big Netflix execs. He like
mm,
earns a very large living, but he has 4 children. And so
wow,
he's Matt, I have no money. Like I make this much, but I
yeah,
literally can't hold on to any cash. And he wanted to buy, I think we ended up getting 195. And it was
yeah.
his second house. He qualified fine. He could get 3 houses. He just didn't have a ton of cash to put down.
The down payment, yeah.
So I was able to find something up with 5% down up to 195.
Wow,
And I
wow,
just
on a jumbo.
structured 2 loans for him. So we did a
Yeah,
first and a second.
you're starting to see that again, like we did back then,
Yes.
countrywide or whatnot. So that went away for. I haven't seen one of those in a while, but I'm starting to hear that coming back a little bit.
Totally,
Yeah,
because HELOCs, there are more HELOCs available now. They went away completely. And they've been back. They've been back for 10 years, but their availability is higher. Their risk levels have gone up. So now you can
yeah.
get a HELOC up to 95%. You couldn't. Nobody did that 10 years ago.
Mm.
So that's starting to edge its way back into the market where you can actually do an 80-15-5 is what we call it.
And so, what are the prices or what are the rates on a HELOC nowadays?
So on a 5% down, like if you're only leaving 5% equity, it's going to be high. It's going to be in the
Mm,
nines. But as standard, if you have 20% equity, it's a primary home, credit is good, 7,
okay.
maybe less.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. And
Yeah,
it's
we're getting
because
there.
every time the Fed lowers, the HELOCs, of course, lower directly with it.
Accordingly, yeah, of course.
Yeah, they're tied. It's most people are very confused how the Fed rate is not tied to mortgages, which it's not. But
Yeah,
it is
it's tied to the 10-year bond, I think, right?
the 10-year bond market. Yeah.
Yeah.
We basically follow it. It's not always, but we basically follow that.
Yeah. We'll see how things
Awesome.
transition this year.
Exactly. No kidding. Well, thank you so much for being here. This was fun.
Appreciate it.
Not
Yeah.
done yet, but like maybe we could do it again sometime.
Yeah, we could do a part 2 at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep it short and sweet. Yeah.
Short and sweet.
Well,
That's
appreciate it. Honored to be on here, and
Yes.
looking forward to hopefully doing some deals together in the future.
Thank you so much. Me too.
Yeah.
Everybody, all of Stefan's information is going to be in the below. He has a website and an Instagram and Facebook, of course, all the
good stuff.
All the social.
The social.
And join me next time. It was great chatting with you.
Same here. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Mortgage on My Mind. If you're ready to start your mortgage journey or have any questions, I'd love to help. With 20 years of experience, I make the process as simple and stress-free as possible. Check the show notes for my contact info, and don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast. Until next time, I'm Natalie Salins, here to help make your real estate dreams a reality.